So first of all, warm welcome to our FATCU ASEAN Thematic webinar. So just a kind of reminder, it's organized as part of the Smart Green ASEAN Cities program, or SGAC, which is an initiative funded by the European Union, supported by the ASEAN Secretariat, and implemented by the UN Capital Development Fund in partnership with FMDV. So this program really aims to design, I would say, was designed as a catalytic initiative to support financing of sustainable urbanization across ASEAN member states, especially middleweight cities, by developing viable financing mechanism for smart green city projects. But of course, the idea is not to start from scratch, but to build on the track record of solutions that are often being developed across the EU or the ASEAN, but that needs yet to be shared in order to de-risk and to show existing business models that are viable. So currently the program works with 15 pilot cities across 6 ASEAN member states, but working still with national, subnational governments and the ASEAN Secretariat to develop transformative approaches. And I would say when we discuss about sustainable finance, of course, there is the main challenge is that there is no cookie cutter approaches that applies because solution mechanism need to be customized to the local context, but also to the sectors, depending on the market opportunities, revenue generation potential, or perception of risk in this sector. So that's really the aim of those webinars, is to try to learn from proven financing solution models available that are not only sustainable, but also viable within 5 priority smart green city clusters that appear to be also the main challenges faced by the cities we work with in the ASEAN. By bringing experiences in financing from champion cities in the ASEAN and the EU. So just in a nutshell, the main objective of this webinar is first to explore and broaden a little bit the spectrum of options in its smart green city cluster, but also to allow you to connect with like-minded peers around shared challenges, and hopefully to learn and possibly to adapt some best practices. So, of course, why waste management? Since the inception of this program, it came at very top priority for most SGAC cities. And waste management may be a kind of paradoxical example of the market failure in green city finance, because we have on one side kind of a lot of noise about growing opportunities in this municipal solid waste management, but mostly on recycling and processing of waste. And at the same time, we have increasing burden on municipal budgets from waste management activities. So before we start, I would like just to maybe ask a survey a little bit the opinion in the room as a kind of introductory poll, and ask you what is for you the main cause of this market failure, especially when it comes to waste management. So basically, several options could come from lack of inadequate budgets. There are changes that comes to lack of perceived opportunities for the private sector, higher from waste infrastructure investments. You are free to choose multiple choices or all the answers if you wish. Okay, can we see the results, Denisa?
Yes. Yeah, this is the result. Can everyone see? Yeah.
Inadequate budget allocation from public authorities come from right on the top, certainty of revenue from waste management, and at the end, higher perceived risk. So, of course, there is challenges are manifold, indeed, and we need definitely public and budget allocation precisely to the risk project. So we'll delve a little bit into that. But I think just an introduction, smart financing solution exists, and we hope to show them a little bit throughout this webinar, not just by raising money, but also saving money and de-risking those projects, doing a smart use of public finance. So to spread a little bit of this smartness across continents, we have today a wonderful panel of speakers representing 3 cities from the EU and the ASEAN that have developed different types of mechanisms to finance their waste management system. And they will be followed by industry specialists who will provide broader perspectives and highlight best practices or enabling conditions that are worth replicating in different geographies and cities. So I will let Denisa introduce this tremendous panel.
Okay, thank you so much, Margot. Yeah, it's very interesting to see the poll and the opinion of everyone's in the room. Now we are going to proceed to our amazing speakers. Firstly, let's travel to Europe first. We would like to welcome Gabriele Folli, former Deputy Mayor for the Environment of the City of Parma, Italy. And Gabriele played a pivotal role in transforming the city from a top waste producer to a zero waste model. For Gabriele Folli, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Margot, for the introduction. Just let me share my screen. Okay. So once again, thank you. I start with the time so I don't lose too much time in saying one word. So thank you very much. I'm Gabriele Folli. I was Deputy Mayor about environment in the city of Parma, which is a city that is based in the north of Italy, with 200,000 inhabitants. It's a city that is lied in the Pianura Padana, which is a flat territory, and it's an area with the per capita income level which is medium high, so with the climate temperature. And the city is composed of 3 different areas. One most, let's say, historic center with coming from the Middle Age establishment of the ancient elders of the cities. An urban area that is let's say, less crowded in terms of buildings, and a rural area. We reach, after the introduction of the pay-as-you-throw system, we reach 81 separate collection rate, with an important also result in terms of reduction of residual waste per capita, so almost less than 100 kilograms. What is the key of success of this project was the introduction of curbside collection, door-to-door collection, and pay-as-you-throw. That means that the most, let's say, important challenge for the city was to remove the roadside containers from the road and introduce the concept of responsibility for the waste. So every single family, every single business activities has been equipped with a series of containers dedicated for each stream of waste. And one of the key of success of this was also to do this change in a very rapid way. Pay-as-you-throw is a system that practically link the waste bill, so the cost of the tax of the waste bill, to the production of waste. In this model, we link this waste bill to the residual waste, and the system works with like let's say a measurement method that is tied to the bin of the residual waste. The residual waste bin is equipped with the RFID system, so every time that the bin is emptied is counted on the, let's say, on the information system of the waste management company. And this goes to calculate the variable quota of the waste bill. This was very successful because in Parma, in our situation in Italy, we have a high disposal cost of residual waste. And what was another key of success was the fact that in Italy we have an APR scheme, so extensive production responsibility, that cooperate all the production of packaging materials that are so typically plastics, paper, cans and so on, to contribute to the, for every single kilogram of material produced, goes to finance the activity of collection of separate collection in the cities in Italy. So this is, let's say, was a good boost for the system, also to improve the quality of the materials, because in the former collection scheme with the roadside container, even if it was a separate collection, even with the roadside containers, the quality of the material was very poor. So the quality of materials was very poor, and also the incomes that we get for collecting the separately the material was very low. So as you can see in this slide, you can see that switching from one system of collecting, for example, 3 streams of materials in one single flow, so glass, plastic, and cans, goes to get 17 euros per ton for each kind of each ton of these streams. Only by separating glass and plastic can, you can see how we increase a lot in 3 years, getting more than 800,000 euros for this change. So to improve the quality of the material. I said that was a high incineration cost in this area, but generally speaking in Italy, and this is one of the other key factor of the system, so that the residual waste disposal, so dump site on incineration must cost a lot, because as you can see, by reducing this ratio of residual waste, so what is considered not non-recyclable waste, has been successful because we dramatically reduce the quantities, from 43,000 tons to 28,000. But also we dramatically reduce the cost of treatment, so collection and transport, and also incineration cost. So 3,500,000 euro less cost for the system, thanks to this operation in 1 year. So very, very rapidly, this was the one of the other key financial point of the system. Another important initiative that has been introduced in Region Emilia-Romagna, which is the region where it lies, Parma, was a residual waste tax. So it was decided that for every kilogram of residual waste produced by a city, was applied a tax that was goes to form a fund, then is revolved to those cities that are reach residual waste reduction goals. So as you can see, this was the consideration during the first year of introduction of this law in 2025. The capital cities of Emilia-Romagna paid a certain amount of money, and you can see in the graph on the left, but only Parma get this money back because it reached the result. And then you consider that only Parma at that time was the only one city having pay-as-you-throw and door-to-door collection. Thanks to this mechanism, we get 550 euro. So another important boost for the reduction of the cost of the system. Another, let's say, incentive that we gave to citizens to cooperate to this cost reduction was a discount for those that have the possibility, that have a garden or an area able to do that, to do own composting. So we gave them a 12% discount of on the waste bill. And also, this, let's say, was a benefit for the whole system, because you don't have to say, bear the cost of handling this kind of waste. So bio-waste was having less cost of transportation or management in this. So at the end, just to give you a comparison of what was the key of success of the pay-as-you-throw and the door-to-door collection, I have compared 3 cities that are having similar conditions, that are Parma, Reggio Emilia, and Piacenza. They are in the same region, so practically along the Via Emilia, they're so very close one to each other. Same waste management company and similar socioeconomic characteristic. As you can see, they have only Parma has the variable waste bill. Reggio Emilia and Piacenza has the traditional waste bill that is fixed compared to the number of people living in the room, in the apartment, and the square meter of the apartment. As you can see, the variable pay-as-you-throw, it can vary according to the number of production of residual waste for each person. And you see that the lowest bill is 242. That has been reached by the 90% of the citizens in Parma. So that means that even if the system is more complex to introduce, we can get very, very good result in short time. So I end my presentation. So I invite you to consider waste not as waste, but as a resource, because it's a material, and most of this material can be recovered. And also to consider what are the costs of the treatment in your system. So to identify what are the incentives that are good to give to citizens, and in let's say emphasize what are the correct behaviors, and also what is more important, involve all these citizens in the change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gabriel Folli. It's very interesting. 2 points. The first one is give value to waste, and also involve everyone in the process. And it's actually very interesting because Parma made a remarkable leap from 48.5% to 81% recycling rate within just 5 years. Now we are going to shift to ASEAN cities, and we are happy to invite one representative from SGAC City, Pon Padit Naking Chang, Environmental Monitoring Officer at the Office of Natural Resources and Environment in the city of Kaesone, Phomvihan City in Laut PDR. Kaesone Phomvihan has developed a successful partnership with the private sector to operate its sanitary landfill and on-site material recovery facility. And Mr. Pon Padit will deliver his presentation in Lao, so please click English in the interpretation feature for other participants and also speakers. And we're going to have to share screen as well, Mr. Pon Padit. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Denisha. I am Pon Padit Naking Chang from Kaesone Phomvihan City, Lao PDR. Today I present about management in the city. You can listen English for the sector. Yeah, I speak Lao. Yeah.
For the waste management in Gaison Phombihan district. So we're going to talk about the overview of Gaison Phombihan. So this is the second largest city in Laos. The total population is about 135,000 people. Looking at the economy, so industry is accounting for 60%, and the rest is services, tourism, and agriculture. So this is the uniqueness of the Gaison is a flat area. Next slide, please. Looking at climate change and environmental priorities in Gaison Phombihan city. So it is surrounded by forestry area, accounted for 48,000 hectares. So it is a green city in ASEAN as a green lung for the city, because over 62% of green areas. So the uniqueness of Gaison Phombihan, we have a lot of trees along the road. In 2021, we awarded the ASEAN Award by the ASEAN Secretariat, and we are very proud of this prize. So looking at climate change, so Gaison Phombihan is very risky and very sensitive to climate change in terms of heavy rain or storm. So it's likely to be flooding, but it is temporarily flood, especially during a storm and rainy season. Next slide, please. For the waste management in Gaison city, we assign the private company to manage and collect waste by signing a contract with the government. So the private sectors manage the landfill, including trucks, landfill, and also another contract on so the government take part in the waste collection about 50%. So the Urban Development Agency and Udom Suk private company to collect and transport the waste, and only 64% was in the contract. So one day the garbage collection can be about 63 tons per day. Next slide, please. So this is the overview of waste management. So after collection and transport to the landfill, so there will be aggregate by human. So this is the company who buy the waste, particularly a plastic bag, plastic bottle, glass, as you may see in the slide. and over 77% is organic waste, so which can be composted and go to the landfill. Next slide, please. So looking at challenges of waste management, population growth, which increased the volume of garbage waste. As you may know, 77% go to the landfill. So there is a need for extension. So due to the large amount of waste at the moment, so there should be more aggregation of waste to ensure the sufficiency of the landfill. And the landfill is about 9 kilometers from the community. So therefore, we have to think about, further extension. Next, please. As you may see on the slide, in the red rectangle, and the right-hand side on the top is the community. So we have to ensure the communities are safe. Next slide, please. Let's move on. Sustainable modern waste management garbage to address the challenges of the landfill. So we start to apply modern waste management garbage project in Quezon. So the main objective is to manage waste using modern system and with good management. So we don't want to fulfill the landfills and be able to control and reduce garbage quantity, and control the sustainable garbage management in the city. And next slide, please. So the context of the project is to change the mindset of population, because solid waste equal raw material. If we segregate the waste, there will be traders who want to buy it. As a materials, everyone needs to purchase it, and it's equal money. Therefore, the landfill. So the landfill is not supposed to, collect on waste. So based on our awareness, it is the place for manage the waste. So we're going to segregate and separate the waste. Next slide, please. So for the key lesson learned, including waste management, if we can manage it well, so we can reduce the quantity of waste and be able to turn it to a material. So after segregation, therefore we do need to have more a project to help us to separate the waste. So in our city, based on our mechanism, I think we need to have monthly monitoring system to ensure the effectiveness of the waste collecting company. And yes, my thanks to Smart Green City project for showing that the problem waste in Indonesia, Madomat. So it is a good model, and we can aware that we can manage the waste if we have a sufficient system with the support from the government and the contribution from the local population. So once again, thanks for your Smart Green City project.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ponpadit. It's very interesting presentation as well. Mr. Ponpadit highlight the idea of collaboration between private sectors. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ponpadit. And now we are going to proceed to another EU case. Now we would like to invite Jos Gregoric, Project Manager at JP Foka Snaga, Ljubljana, Slovenia. Snaga is a public utility company that has been key in supporting the city of Ljubljana ambitious goal to achieve zero waste, the first European capital to make such commitment in 2014. To Jos Gregoric, the time is yours.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for this really nice introduction. I opened my presentation. I hope that it works. I'm Jos Gregoric. I'm actually, like I said, the project manager in the public company, Foka Snaga. At first, but I just would like to settle down a little bit about our country. The Slovenia is, let's say, in the middle of the, let's say, in the south of the Europe. And it's actually the only EU country that combines all Alps, Mediterranean, Pannonian Plate, and the karsts. And some facts about Slovenia: we are just 2 million population. We have the oldest wine in the world, in some other city. We can drink tap water, and we speak our own language, Slovene, just for the brief. So we are small, but I thought that we are great. Waste management or public company, Foka Snaga. We actually established more than 100 years ago. We take care for collection waste for the 10 municipalities around Ljubljana and the city of Ljubljana. The owner of our company was the city of Ljubljana and 6 other municipalities nearby. We were 100% public company. Just for the waste management department, we have employees, 370 employees, 260 for collection and 90 for treated waste. We collect municipal waste from a little bit more than 400,000 inhabitants. We have more than a little bit less than 180,000 bins around the area. Collect 144,000 tons municipal waste per year. That's become a little bit less than 350 kilograms per person or per inhabitants per year. So the city Ljubljana waste management model, I will be very short. So the public company, we collect municipal waste, we treat municipal waste, we treat bulky waste, and we treat the organic waste. And we're also operating the landfill.
Sorry, Jos, I think the slide is not moving. So can move the...
How come?
Yes.
Can I?
Now it's moving. Yeah, now it's moving already. Okay.
Now it's moving. It's maybe that there is the battery. That I could.
Okay, sure. Yeah, now it's
share
moving.
that kind of that I could share that kind of view.
Yeah, it's okay. And by the way, can you make it full screen as well? Can you make it into full screen? Yeah.
It is okay. No, I try to go forward that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we see.
So. Yeah. Okay. Now you see. Sorry. Okay. So what kind of system we have? We have door-to-door collection. We separate collection for fraction door-to-door. So organic waste, packaging, mixed packaging, paper, and residual waste. We also have ecological sites where we separate collection packaging, so plastic, glass, and paper. We have 6 waste collection centers where citizens could bring more than 40 different kind of municipal waste, including the hazardous waste as well. We collect bulky waste on demand in the landfill, and also collect hazardous household waste. Yeah, in the pre-schedule time, and we have the certain place in around the area, and the citizens can bring the hazardous waste and small heavy equipment as well. So in the some city center, we collect municipal waste in the underground containers. So we have more than 80 underground points, and we install we actually change with these underground containers more than 10,000 ordinary bins. This is why we come there, because we don't have enough place for all of bins. We need to separate. We need to install for the separate collection waste. In the meantime, like I mentioned, we also running the Regional Waste Management Center. This is MBT plant. So we separate, we treated separate the municipal waste, residual waste. So we treated also the anaerobic fermentation with this organic part of residual waste, and make the fermentation or anaerobic digestion with the separate collection or organic waste. We are actually the first EU capital you already mentioned, and I think that we are doing great. So we are in 2022, we separately collect a little bit less than 70% of municipal waste. So now I go forward what kind of financial model for urban solid waste management we have in Ljubljana. So the first one is the waste producer pays principle. So this is certain. We have the national environmental legislation. Yeah, they cover this. We have the legislation that determines the methodology and validation of pricing of collection and all other activities in the waste management. We have the municipal decrees. They actually define the standards for separate collection of municipal waste, so that we know how often and how we need to treat with this. And like I mentioned, for all waste management costs are covered through the service price paid user with monthly bills. Yeah, some kind of pay-as-you-throw system. So for the large investment or investment in the infrastructure, yeah, the money they must guarantee the municipalities, and we actually just signed a contract with these municipalities, and we rent this infrastructure, and the rent is included in the price. So this is it, and our, let's say, mission is that we try to providing the best service for the right price. So who determines the price? So like I mentioned, we have the protection, Environmental Protection Act, the national level. This decree of the methodology of determining the price. Yeah, I think it's really important, because in all municipal companies in Slovenia made the same calculation for the waste management. So, and they just need to set these activities they already taken for the citizens, otherwise they couldn't include it in the price. Normally, it's also determines the price, the obligatory decree of obligatory municipal public service. Yeah, because there we defined how many times we empty each separate collection or each material, or it is organic, weekly, or maybe packaging every 14 days or something like this. Yeah, and actually, how we actually calculate the price. All costs we have for the waste management, yeah, we actually divided by the tons of separate collection residual waste per year. Yeah, then these tons we divided, yeah, per liter per volume of the containers. Yeah, and all the decree or ordinance, yeah, covered this proceed. Yeah, we already made to calculate the price for citizens and also businesses as well. So what I already mentioned. So we actually plan the quantities and service delivery. And if we don't collect enough money, so we, let's say, make not right calculation, next year's, if we collect more money, or if we get more money for the citizens, we included this money in the next year's price. If we collect less than we needed, yeah, then we increase the price a little bit in the next year. Yeah, I think it's really fair because we are a public company and we don't work for the profit. But all the money we actually get from the citizens or from the customers, we actually use it for waste management. The structure of the monthly bills. Before I mention what services is included in our price, yeah. So we have door-to-door collection for fraction, waste collection in equalize, and providing waste collection bins, replace and damage bins, cleaning a bio-waste each container once per year, waste collection waste in collection centers, of course, because the citizens can bring the separate collection, separated waste in the collection centers for free. So it is included in the price they already paid. Yeah, collection bulk waste, collection hazardous waste, cost for infrastructure, for facilities, trucks, everything. Yeah, waste processing, communication, invoicing, billing service, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah. So how do we calculate it? The cost users pay for the Vokas Naga. So the cost calculated depends on the size of the bin for residual waste and the bin for biological waste. We taken the monthly frequency of the emptying. Depend, because we have the rural area, we have the city area. In the rural area, we collect residual waste once per 3 weeks. In the rural area, we actually collect in the city area, we actually collect residual waste once per week. Yeah, and the average invoice on a household is a little bit less than 13 euro, including VAT. And this is the average household has in Slovenia 2.5 people, if I could say something like that, just for say some. For the underground containers, we actually charge on the different sites, but so we actually number of disposal per month is built, but not fewer than 6 for residual waste and 8 for biological, and every active cart is built. So each household and small business get his own cart, and we actually counted how many times they put the bags into the system. Yeah, and the volume of the opened is 50 liters for residual and 15 for organic waste. So in the multi-residential buildings, actually, we have the same system, just that the building manager usually takes the receive and then divide it in accordance with the legislation of agreement of among tenants, and the cost is divided by the number of the people sharing of the households. So the manager gets the bill for the all bins. They are then divided to the households per number of person they live in each households. What is in invoice? Yeah, so we need to have the separated price in the numbers in the invoice. So especially for public infrastructure, especially for treated and everything else. So what we have learned during our journey, during the communication is communicate, not educate. Tell stories and inspire changes, cooperate and evolve with the citizens. Destruction the myths. Yeah, we have very strong myths that even the citizens are separated in the different bins. Yeah, they also already think that we collect all the waste together. Yeah. So then establish good relationships with the media. Think out of the box if you try to be innovative and be persistent. What we have learned in the, let's say, in the field of waste treatment and waste collection. And waste collection is the source ensures cleaner collection fractions. That's for sure. Waste collection complex needs to be constantly upgraded and updated, and users really need to understand more deeply why they separated waste. And also what we have learned is that if you have if some area has really a good system for separate collection organic waste, then all other fractions is more recyclable. I think that this is really very important. Yeah, so thank you very much for attention, and if you have some questions, I will be there. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jos. It's very interesting presentations. You emphasize about the importance of public awareness and also very interesting financing mechanism as well. Now we are going to proceed to our discussions. I will give the floor to Margot. The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and I see that a lot of people already have a few ongoing discussion in the chat. We really had a lot of questions even before the webinar. So I would just try to select a few one, but before that, I would like to wrap up a little bit some kind of common point I want to remember from your presentation, is that there is no such word as waste, provided that there is proper waste management provided. And Gabriele said that we need to put a value on waste. So that's definitely key messages, like looking at waste through new lenses. But that means also in financial terms. And then we have Jose, who showed a very great example of how do we quantify this and integrate this into users' budget, private sector regular expenditures, and city planning. And that also it needs to be dynamic and regularly upgraded and adapted. Just there and to build on this, so I would like to summarize a few questions that has been raised a lot on taxes, because that's precisely kind of burning aspect and a very challenging one from cities to move from a very volatile user charges approach. So, and a lot of questions also are being asked for the ASEAN secondary cities. We try also to consider this waste taxes. So the question will go, I would say, primarily to Gabriele. How did you manage to, implement these taxes, make it acceptable? Could you share a little bit of the experience on how did you negotiate this, and how it has been incrementally implemented at the city level?
So what we need to say that is very, very important is that as was said by Jose Gregorich, there are different levels in every country, in every situation. So in our experience, there was the possibility to introduce some activities that are affected the financial part of the cost of the service. That is pay as you throw. What can do the citizen to change the economical part of the waste bill? So pay as you throw is the system that can be applied by the municipal level. But then you have to act also at a regional or national level. That is very important. I think that every country has a different system. Every country has a different situation. But I think that one of the key focus of the point is to make pay a lot the residual waste, because most of the what we consider waste, what is the urban waste, most of the material is recyclable. So if you have a low cost of landfill, low cost of incineration, you cannot afford to change, because to change and go to separate waste collection, you need to have more human resources, more trucks working for separate collection, more let's say treatment plant, and you have to finance this. So I think if I have to say one thing that can change the rules, is that residual waste must cost a lot. So landfill tax or similar initiative that can be taken at regional or national level are one of the first steps.
Thank you very much. I would like also to ask probably to you, but also Jose, a question about, because this webinar is also about how far can we replicate solution and draw inspiration from cities across the EU and ASEAN. And we have Renita Kaworian, who is asking how to tackle small-scale waste management, especially in secondary cities where volume make it difficult to invest in costly waste infrastructure, but also to reach volume that may be of interest for the private sector and create a sizable investment size.
Yeah, it's not easy question, or it's easy. It's really, if my question, it's the waste management systems is really depend of the historical system. It's one place they already had. This is first place we have to go. Otherwise, I'm really sure that if into some area for the municipal waste management, yeah, they need to be one company, which are has the let's say main part of the main goal of the waste management. If you have more companies, yeah, you couldn't manage the comprehensive system, and the citizens couldn't also communicate with the citizens and so on and so on. So if you want to think, I think that in the let's say in the local level or in the city level, yeah, they first they need to sign the write some rules, yeah, and collect all part of municipal waste let's say in the one company, yeah, because otherwise they just one company just collect the recyclables, the material which are, let's say, it's profitable, and the other materials stand in the, let's say, for the other, also for the public companies. I think that this is also important that the company who collect municipal waste, they need to collect everything, yeah, because let's say in our case, yeah, if we collect the positive material, let's say the paper, yeah, not the cardboard, the paper, or the metal, we actually sell this material, yeah, and for the money we get, we actually reduce the price for the citizens. So also the citizens get benefits if we sell this material. Yeah. So it also becomes, if let's say in the vegetable oils and some other materials. Normally, yeah, some other materials is costly. Yeah, in like Gabriele said before, yeah, the rest waste must be very, very expensive. Yeah, because you can, in the other that in the same times you have the place, yeah, to start to treating with these recyclables. Yeah, otherwise you couldn't, because if the cost for the, let's say, 1 ton of the all mixed waste is, I don't know, 25 euro in the landfill, you couldn't do nothing with this 25 euro, yeah, for the separate collection, let's say recyclables, so let's say paper, glass, or maybe VAV equipment and something else, yeah. So you need more money for this, yeah, and if the residual waste costs more, yeah, you actually have more money for these other materials. Yeah, how they start? At first, I think that communication is also really, and education is really important part. Yeah, you need to start educated in the children garden, then the primary schools, and go step by step. Yeah, and other thing what we already learned is you couldn't change the system in the 2 years, in the 3 years. Yeah, because the customers or the citizens need time to actually understand, to change his habits and everything else. Yeah, and also the workers in the municipal companies need to change his habits and understanding why this waste is not waste, but it is the resources, and so on, so on, so on. So education and communication, I think, is a crucial part of the let's say upgrade or introduce the let's say upgrading waste management system.
Thank you very much. And indeed, I think it's also another key message is all cities that have been successful, they have also invested in awareness building, but also in improving a sortation process. And maybe I will have a last question also to Tom from Kaizen, because we have a provocative question on why waste companies that are still trying to get the government to pay for waste management, while there is apparently a lot of solution that's where there is very attractive markets from BSF or DF pyrolysis. And I think it builds on what you just said, and is when we talk about waste collection or waste sortation is still segment that is still at pre-investable stage, and precisely where public finance needs to jump in. So the question to Tom would be, how did you, because I understand that you had also a new partnership model with a new private company. So what was the role of the government to facilitate the business model for the private company you're working with? I think we,
Okay.
Tom? Yeah.
Okay, Margot. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, I will speak in Lao. For the contribution from the government to promote this waste collection activities. Yes, the government do have the policy on the concession, and even the government have to pay the cost of waste collection, $1 per 1 ton. And what we would like, we also promote the municipal waste collection. So the private company also get profit, get revenue from the waste collection. The contractor and also the landfill, they can collect revenue like $1 per ton. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the money from the waste material that are recycled goes to your city or the company?
Yeah, the company received the money for the service, and also the fees that we collect from the citizen. The company collect on the money.
Okay, thank you. And that is indeed, I think, a business or a partnership model is frequently highlighted, is how the local and cities can put more effort in improving the waste collection system while delegating collection and operational expenditure to the private sector. I think we'll need to jump to the second section because we have seen a lot of examples that in different strategy to finance waste separation. So of course, showing that there is definitely no one-size-fits-all solution, that public intervention need to go hand in hand with participation of multiple stakeholders. But that's why before jumping to the next session, we'd like to hear from you what is, considering your local city context, which approach hold the greatest potential to finance waste? Again, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just a little bit sense. Where do you see the opportunities and the most viable approaches to finance waste management? So it could be user fees and charges, earmarked existing taxes or create new taxes, or apportion a share of existing taxes to waste management. It could be sales of waste material, either through recycling or upcycling waste material. It could be government subsidies or special funds that need to be created, and having revolving fund, like it has been mentioned earlier. Could be blended finance approaches or any other solution that you can think of. Okay, okay, can we show the results?
Yes, this is the result. Yeah.
Way ahead, user fees and charges. I think that also has been frequently highlighted. So we need to put a cost and a price on waste. And I think there is no way to escape this. And then the question will be indeed how to then systematize and institutionalize those fees to make it more sustainable. I didn't have the time to read it at the end, but we will share the results and make sure to address all the questions that have been asked and that we didn't have the time to discuss. I will probably, so again, how to choose between all those options, how to find the right financial mix. That's something for which we need the kind of financial engineering from experts and we're familiar with the sector. That is why we're really truly delighted to have today also not only cities, but also industry experts to bring the decade of experience working in the region to identify replicable good practices and outline what are the different financial mixes and strategies that have been developed already in the region. So I will call first Ririn Restuwajati. She's advisor in public policy and waste management and climate change at GIZ Indonesia. And she works especially for the emissions reduction cities through improved waste management program, which supports the development of solid waste management master plans across 6 Indonesian cities, and support also further engagement of the private sector in mitigation actions. Ririn, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Margot, for the very interesting introductions. And hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to joining this webinar. I am Ririn, advisor for GIZ Indonesia and ASEAN, and I'm very excited to share you about what I've been doing currently under the German cooperation project emissions reductions in cities to improve waste management, or we can call it ERIC DKTI. Okay, let's start. Okay, the project that I've been working on, commissioned by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, with the partner of the Government of Indonesia, led by the Ministry of National Development Planning, Bappenas. The project working on 3 outputs: waste value chain, the improvement of data management, and the last output that will be underlined for today, our discussion, is the financing capacity. The project working at the national level to develop the policy to enable a sustainable waste management system in the cities, and also working with the subnational level to have the piloting in 6 municipalities in Indonesia. And today I will bring the snapshot of the activities in Bogor Regency. Let's see about the journey. Then this is the brief profile of the Bogor Regency. It has 5.5 million of the people living there, with the waste generation around 2.6 thousand ton per day. It is quite a big waste generation in the cities. And the local government facing 3 major problems to finance their solid waste management system, with the first one, limited government budget. The second one is the implementation of the polluter pay principle. So the awareness of the community to pay for their waste management system is still quite low. And these 2 big problems resulting in the financing gap of the cities. Of course, when we are talking about something to overcome the waste management financing problem, it always be interesting to talk about the big project with the very high investment costs and the advanced technology. But like we already heard from the Quezon city case, the preparation and the high cost of the project in the big project is not always be affordable for the countries it is including in Indonesia. where the preparation phase will take more than 1 month, more than 1 year. In the other hand, the waste popping up in every day, in every house, in every cities. So what should we do? I want to engage everyone to have a look into a basic logic concept of the needs of financings. It is actually already mentioned by Pharma Cities. It is very well explained there in the right corner of the slides of these slides. If you are talking about the needs of the financing, there are two aspect there. Currently, we always busy to get the additional revenue, additional income to increase our income. But in the other hand, we almost forget that talking about the minimizing the gap of waste costs, it is also talking about how we can lowering down our operational and investment costs. Next. And this is the journey of Bogor Regency that has been playing around with combination of lowering down the cost and also the increase of their revenue. The first measures is about the reducing their costs. It is a very simple, low technology and low investment cost to be applied, which is using the, stay to this slide. Which is using the public empowerment, community empowerment, just to encourage the people to separate the waste at home, and then also to encourage people to separate their waste into the separated waste material, so the recyclable material will maintain its optimum value. And then using the very simple processing method like composting, maggot, and also separated bins. But sometimes cities, especially in Indonesia case, they forget that behind these very simple methods, there are quite significant cost reduction that unintentionally can obtain by the cities. In Bogor Regency cities, they obtain almost 2 million euros per year by applying these very simple methods. Next. That's all about the reducing the cost. Now we are talking about how they increase the revenue. Sometimes we are, we are busy with getting a new funding, getting for the investor to coming, and sometimes we are forgetting that we already had the source of funding inside the city, which is the fee collection system. So in this regard, Bogor Regency tried to improve their revenue coming from the waste management services fee. And in Indonesia, we call it retribution fee. And the government already regulated, but unfortunately, not all of the cities can apply the retribution system very well. And it is always be not an easy decision for the local government to increase the tariff of the retribution system. So it needs to be very carefully considered. In Bogor Regency, the decision of the tariff assessed through a series of steps, including they ensure the cost calculated with accuracy, with the high accuracy, using the right method, and also using the reliable customer data as the basis. And also they need to ensure the public ability to pay, and also need to ensure that the price can be affordable by the public. And after series of the assessment, the city decided to increase only a few additional of the tariff. It's around 0.3 until 1.1 euro per household per month. We can imagine that it only a few addition to the tariff, but turns out the city successfully gained additional around 4.7 million euro per year. So I think this is the like a best practices for us to also looking back into the resources that we already had inside the city, which is our customer. Next. And of course, after lowering down the cost and increase our revenue, there is always be a gap there, because considering the limitation of the government budget and also the limitation of the community ability to pay, then there is a gap that where the cooperation with the private sector playing a very important role there. For example, in Bogor Regency, they are very fortunate to have the cement industry near the cities that provide the opportunity to have the RDF production cooperation there. While there is always be good to have another opportunity for the funding of the solid waste management system. That's why Bogor Regency is still calling for another collaboration. Next. In the end, I think this is, I can share you the lesson learned and best practices from the 6 pilot municipalities of the project. The first one, planning based on city's needs and capacity, is very crucial. Of course, reliable data as the basis is the key. And to lowering down your cost, you can always use your local wisdom and resources. And also, talking about the solid waste management system, it is not only talking about the obligation of the public government, but also talking about the multi-stakeholders collaboration. I think there are a lot of more detailed information that there are interesting enough to share and discuss with, but I think I will end my presentation here. Back to you, Margot or Denisa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ririn, and I think we definitely won't exhaust the topic today, but thank you for our presentation, which was very clear, and I will also connect this with the presentation of cities in the discussion later. But I'll leave not the floor, but the screen to our final speaker, Tera Michaels. She is a representative of GRET in Cambodia. So GRET is a French international development NGO with truly extensive global experience in the solid waste sector and has supported a lot of inclusive waste management initiatives in the region, including in Cambodia and Vietnam. Tera, are you ready?
Yes, thank you.
Your presentation? Thank you.
I hope you can see my presentation. Let me know if you cannot. Thank you for the warm welcome and very nice to see everyone here. I think there's some great questions being asked and I'm excited to share with you what we're doing. So first, I'd like to give a bit of context. I've been working in Cambodia for about 8 years, but also support projects in Myanmar, Vietnam, and Laos. In general, the approach that, GRET has is to find solutions between public and private sector. In Cambodia, in particular, there's a lot of interest from the private sector in what we call public services, so water, sanitation, and waste. There's also commercial finance available and sometimes government concessional finance available. And there's significant investment going into infrastructure like landfills or sanitation treatment facilities. And this is government-led mostly, but there is some private sector influence as well. However, of course, we still have questions. How do we attract the private sector? How are we bringing these two actors together? What are the options for technology? For us, we're particularly interested in composting because we have a deep connection with the agriculture sector, as does the Cambodian culture. And then finally, what do we do to incentivize this? And it's not an accident I left a water supply picture on the left. The Cambodia team has been doing this in the water sector for 25 years, so we're trying to emulate this model with the solid waste sector. So over the years, we've done several different types of case studies. This is just an example where we look for what are the opportunities and constraints. For example, most of the new landfills are much further from the city, which tells us there's an interesting opportunity to look at what options we can provide closer to the city to reduce transportation costs. Another opportunity that we see is that somewhere between 50 and 70% of the waste in most Cambodian cities is organic. So as we saw from our slideshow from Laos, that's a resource. That is a monetary opportunity that we're looking at. So don't be intimidated by my slides. I have a couple of financial analyses, but I'm going to talk about these quite high level. What we decided to do is take a high level look at what is happening in the cities, how much waste is there, and try to have a global view. So for example, in one of our cities, there's an opportunity, let's say, to divert 30% of all waste from the landfills, which is significant. It's almost 100,000 tons. So for us, this is where we say, okay, there's an opportunity. What could we do? And so with this and all of the other assumptions that are on this slide, we start to do a financial analysis. And I saw a question in the chat as well, asking about why are we asking the public sector to finance versus the private sector? Well, most of the waste management solutions are not completely financially backable purely for the private sector. And this is a great example. So windrow composting, often with the prices that we expect compost to sell at, it's just not possible to recover all of the costs. In this case, you can recover operational costs, but not the capital expenditures. So this is where we look to the government to say, okay, can we get land? Can we get subsidies? Or from donor partners, can we discuss options for bringing in financial solutions to support where there is need? Then we look at other opportunities. Well, windrow composting is not as financially viable because waste is heavy and it loses a lot of water in the composting process, resulting in a small yield in compost. So how can we increase our compost yields? One of the options that we've been exploring and we're very excited about is co-composting. There's a lot of investment in the waste management or in the sanitation sector in Cambodia. So fecal sludge management, wastewater treatment, and these result in a byproduct of sludge that sometimes can also be dumped in landfills, thus creating even more of a problem. However, it is also a resource under the right conditions. So if we could explore the opportunities of bringing together treated fecal sludge, safely treated fecal sludge, with windrow composting, then our yield and our quality of compost increases. And because the yield and the quality increase, the price increases, and therefore the cost recovery does as well. The caveat here is that this looks great for the private sector, but we still need public sector investment and management of the waste management, of the sanitation resources to ensure that those services are in place, as well as the public oversight to ensure waste collection is in place, especially for separated collection. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but this is what we're trying to look at. Where are the opportunities? What is the private sector that exists? And then how can we fit these puzzle pieces together to make it work for everyone? So I don't want to take up too much time because I know we're getting at the end. Overall, what I'm showing here is a map. This is where we've identified that there's opportunities because there's large waste quantities in Cambodia. This is where most people live in Cambodia. And so these are the places we'd like to explore further. These are also places where there's a lot of sanitation improvements happening. So we are going to approach the governments and we are working with private sector partners to find solutions and to work with donors as well to develop opportunities for these programs. One thing that's being explored, we've talked a lot about taxes and finance, of course, is how the government can provide inputs. But then there's a buzzword that we're seeing in our sector, viability gap funding. So we're looking at how we can bring concessional loans together with private sector loans, where we're already working with banks and microfinance institutions to provide loans to these sectors, and see how we can start blending these financial options for the best opportunities for the public and the private sector. With that, that's all I have. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm excited to see your questions.
Thank you very much, Joanne. That's for the concise and still very dense and clear presentation. We do have quite a better question, but I think your two presentations combined provided a quite comprehensive way of what do we mean by smart waste management financing, meaning first, more efficient, not just money raised, but money saved. Then more precise, meaning better data and having a progressive and incremental approach in the way we charge waste management fees. And the third one is more targeted use of finance, including in particular public finance. So that is also something that I would like to highlight from the presentation is funding smarter to finance more. So where are the opportunities, how to optimize public funding to allow participation of external stakeholders which doesn't mean that it's going to be fully private and that won't work, especially in waste management, but as you highlighted, there is not yet tangible, profitable opportunities just that could be open for fully private finance. So there is just a question that I will begin with regarding the challenge of having a consistent waste collection fees. So all the cities have highlighted their approach that they have to collect fees, and it is already implemented in a lot of countries in the ASEAN. But a lot of SGAC cities that participate in the program face, of course, challenges in getting this consistent, especially after the pandemic, where suddenly either they use a concession model, or whether the fees were directly collected by the city, it stopped directly, which basically disrupted the business model. So now that if we talk about smart, how if cities are experts from the project you have been working with, have good practices to share and how to make waste collection fees more effective, whether using technologies, online payment, or just by having better mobilizing the community at the community level. Could you share a little bit on the experience that you have seen to how to improve the efficiency and the consistency of waste collection charges?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Margaret, for the question. I also found in the chat someone asking about the collection system, especially in Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. Actually, I would say that in Indonesia, the waste fee collection system is not established very well yet. In our pilot municipalities, we try to embedded the fee collection system into the water bill collection system, which is in Indonesia, we call it PDAM. Because why? Because if we are talking about the water, the needs of the water, if someone not paying for the water bills, then the government can stop the water flow to the house, and then the people cannot live anymore, right? But it is quite different when we are talking about the waste management. If someone not in Indonesia context, yeah, if the one household not paying for the waste management fee, then the government stop to collect their waste. Then what will be happening? The people will throwing away the waste, and anywhere, everywhere they can find a space there. I think you can relate on the situation of Laos, right? Yeah, it is happening in Indonesia. That's why we are trying to make it become embedded with the water billing system. Another option with the electric billing systems, and the other way around, of course, through the door-to-door manual system. But in Indonesia, the problem is more complex than to the collection of the fee itself. Actually, the Indonesian people already paid for the waste management system, but the revenue of the fee is not flowing to the local government. It is collected by the informal waste picker, and then the money is not submitted to the it's not paid to the local government. This is like structural changes that we need to improve in Indonesia. But yeah, one of the solution is through the merge of the billing system with the electricity and also the water in Indonesia. I think that's the answer for me. Thank you, Margo.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to share regarding the user fee collection? Maybe a city to share how did they manage to improve also the consistency and ensuring stable revenue stream? No, in that case, I would maybe ask two questions at the same time that are specifically addressed to specific speakers. One is to Jose. If we talk still about efficiency and not on the fee collection, but here on the waste collection. So what kind of composting bins that you have made available to citizens? That's something that's very technical, but there is also a lot of efficiency that has been gained by developing new technologies or technical solution to gain those quick win and improve the quality of the waste selected. And the second question that I'll ask is precisely to Tera. So you briefly mentioned this kind of blended finance, which is now also a buzzword, including for waste management. I would like to ask you if you could also just provide a short example on where, at which stage, and for blended finance could be considered, because all of you have mostly emphasized on the need to look at what can be done locally, what can we gain and raise locally. So when does the blended finance consideration should come in the project development stage and in the financing project value chain?
Yeah, that's a good question. Ultimately, it kind of depends on the project itself and how much blended financing is needed, because if you need 50% subsidy, that's significant, and that covers not just public investment or infrastructure investment. It also might need a subsidy for operations as well. So it might invite something that's needed at the implementation stage, such as a management contract for services with private sector. Whereas if the amount of subsidy needed is very small, let's say 10% or just land available, then it's something that could be earlier in the project during design and build phase. So it varies a little bit, but I would say in my experience, the earlier the better, because the more comfortable that the public and the private sector become with each other, the more likely that you're going to have a successful project. So the familiarity and the trust is actually the key. It's more important really than the amount of funding that's available. But there's often a misunderstanding and a pointing of fingers. Private sector says the public sector is not doing enough, not financing enough. And the public sector says, well, you're not providing good enough services. So the sooner they can come together and come to a common understanding and a common goal, the better any type of agreement would be in the long term.
Thank you very much. Very clear. And Jose, there was a question specifically addressed to you, and I understood that you wanted to answer it directly. Just to provide a short explanation on the technology that you have implemented to improve collection at the source and composting.
Yeah. Yeah, on the very beginning, we have just door-to-door collection for residual waste. And then we actually, during the years, we add the containers for organic waste as well. And at first, we don't have his own system for treated the organic waste, but we find the private company and make the long-term contracts for treated the organic waste we separated, collected. And after 7-8 years, we actually just start to build his own infrastructure for treated organic waste. So this is, I think, also the one possibility to starting. Before I mentioned, when I spoke about private and public sector, I think that Ms. Tera is make a good point of view. That collection, I think that it's really important. It is a part of the public system, but the treated of different part of municipal waste, maybe organic, maybe, I don't know, VAV equipment, maybe, I don't know, hazardous waste as well, normally. Also the treated of residual waste, it could be private. Because then just I don't know, the company who collect just paid for the tons of treated of the organic waste, and they think this price they included this cost is included in the price of the collection, something like this. Yeah, how we improve, we will just go step by step. But and also, I think this is also very important to start with some kind of system of separate collection for the municipal waste. It's not just door-to-door collection. This is just for the beginning. It's very soon you need to introduce the collection centers. Because if you have just separate collection door-to-door, you just separate this daily material, like food, like packaging and these residuals, maybe something like this. But if you have some bulky material, some frigidaire, something more, yeah, hazardous waste, so on, so on, you couldn't collect door-to-door, but you need some infrastructure, some place that the citizens or the customers could bring this material in some special location, and you can manage the treat after they collect. Yeah, this also with the furniture as well. Yeah, mattress. Yeah, it's a lot of materials. Yeah, you couldn't collect door to door. So door to door is just for, I said, daily using or daily made waste or materials. Yeah, all other stuff you need some other infrastructure for collection. Yeah, and normally before you start to collect, yeah, you need to know what you will do with the material you collect. So for the beginning, it's really nice to find some private company or some private initiatives, or maybe private contracts, yeah, to handle with the materials you start separated collected. This is my let's say answer.
Thank you, and I think that's great. You also summarize the other dimension of smart city that we haven't really mentioned is also about integration, but that also applies to finance. How do we pool those resources to unlock opportunities? I know that we have already exceeded time, so I don't want to keep you more, and I know it's very frustrating, but we'll make sure to collect all your questions and to ask our speakers individually to address your question when possible, and we will send it back to you and to all the mailing lists of people who are registered. Before you leave, we would like also to ask to the participants a last question. We have tried to summarize a few key messages from different participants, and we would like you to select a few messages that you want to bring back home. Denisa, if you can just launch the poll. And while you answer to this short last question, and make sure that you don't leave this webinar empty, we would like also to let you know that this is the first of a series of thematic webinar that will run until April, and the next one will focus on water and wastewater management. We still have the same concept. We'll have cities from the EU, cities from the ASEAN, and industry experts. Again, thank you very much for all the questions. It was really exciting, and I'm sure that we aim to build also on this webinar to create a community of practice on smart city finance around those sectors. So we will share with you the materials, the recording, and answer to those questions that we put and made available online. And really feel free to ask any additional information regarding the program, or if you need any contact with the speakers, we'll make sure to facilitate any kind of connection that are possible. Yeah. Perfect. So this is the agenda of the next webinars. And if we can just display the result of the poll. That's quite mixed. Emphasize multi-stakeholder participation, give value to waste. Reliable waste data is a precondition to smart finance, and multi-sectoral planning to unlock opportunities. So yeah, no preferential choice. I think they're all good messages and key takeaway. Thank you. I don't know how we could probably thank you, probably with reaction, if you want to send a few uploads, hurt anything to thank our speakers. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. And I hope to see you next time for yet another exciting set of panelists.